Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. This video will be a quickie, and the idea is so laughably simple that number one, I wonder why I haven't thought of it before, and number two, maybe it's out there, but maybe it's worthwhile doing the video because perhaps you haven't thought of this idea yet. So, welcome. If you have watched any of my thrift haul videos, you know that I love getting calendars. And, calendars, like so many other things, are ridiculously priced, considering that they're, yes, maybe we refer to them daily, but in the end, it's a one-time use only, unless, of course, you're a crafter. Excuse me. So I think most of us have access to artist reuse places or thrift stores or other sources for getting calendars that people are done with. Now, sometimes you can get a calendar that is absolutely pristine. Nobody's made a mark on it. And other times you can get them where every single square has been filled in with a notation of some sort. So what you see here are a couple of, and I realize there's probably a glare, but what you see here are some beautiful rural scenes. I didn't even measure this. 12 by 10 by 12. And so basically, and the paper is really nice. It almost has that linen-y, that visual texture. And so what I thought was, okay, I could, number one, I trimmed the border around. This was one of those calendars that had every square had been filled in. I've mentioned before that I have a magazine rack here on the floor beside me, and that's where I keep end papers, vintage book papers, pieces of all kinds that can be used for backing. So when you have a nice big piece like this, it's kind of nice to be able to use it in one piece. So what I did, first of all, was cover the backs off all of the pages, and I think I had 6 altogether. So, excuse me. So that's what I've got here. But, so you're thinking, okay, you really did oversell this idea. We know how to back stuff. But what I did next, and maybe this is, I don't know, you judge, is page by page, I cut them up as though they were a masterboard. Now we're going to, let's see if I can reconstruct this. Okay, there was this fence. So basically, in the foreground, there was this fence and rock pile and these wildflowers and so on. There's the guy's signature, the artist's signature. Maybe I'll just leave a little tiny space in between each one so you can kind of figure out what's going on here. Now, I must be missing something, or does this go here? Oh, yeah. So basically, I was thinking, okay, what size shape? Well, shapes and sizes make the most sense to try to get out of this. Okay, what do we have here? So this, that's the rest of that tree. Oh, this probably goes over here. It seems to me like something is missing right there, but yeah, because that eave is missing. but whatever. We'll call it close enough. Oh, that goes there. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, so this is what it would have looked like whole. So I don't know what I'm doing with this other than it will probably end up in a farm journal at some point because of the subject matter. So I honestly, I don't remember. I think I did these cuts first, to be honest, because those are the focal points. So just for the heck of it, let's see what we've got here. We've got 6 1/4 by 3. Perfect card. Now, because I had already backed it, it's essentially ready to go. I could round the corners, I could add a sentiment, I could put a grommet at the top, I could turn it into a tag shape, or whatever. This one, of course, is wider, but I kind of didn't want to cut the barn in half or the shed in half. So this one is 5 by 6 1/4. These little guys, which I envision as pockets, are 2 1/2 by 4. This is really kind of a blank slate. This may never get used. This may never get used. But that's not much waste, to be honest. So this is a blank slate. You know, I could add just about anything to this. I could actually get rid of that tree line and just, you know, go with bird embellishments or whatever. And I didn't take the time to decorate these for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't know how and where I'm using them yet, so I want to just keep them intact as bases. And unless this is the very first YouTube video you're watching as a beginner, you very well know, and even if it is your first video, I'm sure you know how to glue stuff to paper and decorate according to your own aesthetic and your own taste. This is, again, a really neutral thing. This could, now it's a bit long, but it could be a couple of, mind you, we probably don't want grass growing sideways, but it depends. It could be the start of a bookmark. It could be a skinny, albeit skinny, belly band. It could be two or more horizontal belly bands, and then that way the grass and the flowers are growing the way they should. So there's that. So I'm just going to put all this back together, keep it intact, and these things will now go into the bin that I have for ag, farm, country. So let's see another one. Because, of course, depending on how the original photo is, yeah, that's more like it. You know, the cuts might end up being different. So this little pump here, water well pump, is kind of not much of a focal point, but you can see, I hope you can see, that on this one I only got, I must have thrown something out because this, oh no, it's all intact. This, of course, is probably the most interesting with the little old farmhouse and part of a tree. Here we've got this nice tree and that roof line. Again, I don't need to spell this out for you. It's self-evident. Let's see how these go with sizes, though. 6 by 4 5/8. And then these three at the bottom are probably close to 4 by 4. Yeah, pretty well, almost exactly. So there's that one. Now again, I picked the scenic one with, you know, because that's what I had on hand, taking up space here, and me not dealing with. So, but this would apply equally as well. Uh-oh. What's going on here? I don't seem to have all the pieces to this one. Oh, I know. These guys, geez, shell game or what? So you can see that on this one, I have even fewer cuts because this thing is jam-packed with potential images. Look how cute this is with those two kids or people and a dog and a little farmhouse in the distance and the little incline and the, you know, the speckly sky. So of course it's 10 inches, which is too tall for the average journal. However, if this was used in a tall skinny, it would be just about perfect. And it's 2 3/8. I'm not going to cut any further because, again, if these things ended up in a tall skinny, now this is 4.5, so that's a bit pushing. That's pushing it. But maybe it becomes a tip-in. You know, maybe I slice a little bit off here, or I fold it under, although that would be a bit of a thick thing. But it could be hinged with a piece of paper or washi tape or something, and it becomes an additional page, and it's still kind of right in that 4.5 inch width. Or, you know, cut 1/2 inch off here, we don't lose anything, cut the guy's signature off at the top, and again, we've got some interest. We've got that beautiful tree, the little shed with the wagon in it, there is a deer. Like, what more could a person want? This, now, if these things had been backed with something heavier, this could easily also be a writing board. So, you know, it would be kind of hard. Probably I'd sacrifice the foreground. You know, if I had to turn this into something that was about 8 inches, I'd probably, you know, maybe lose 1 inch at the top, lose, you know, 1 inch and a quarter, 1.5 inches or whatever at the bottom, and I would still have a really nice sized, how wide is this? 5 1/4. So again, part of this building has been chopped off. If I were going to further cut it down, I would continue to cut it down on this side, lose that tree, but at least this roof line would still be intact. So there's that. And I have one more to show you, and then that is it. Oh, we could talk about, we could do one of these just for a little more, you know, kind of a live example. So this one, oh, looks like I did something different here. I got rid of the sky there. Oh, this goes over here. So you can see that, again, I realize I'm repeating myself, but the cuts on every single sheet were different based on the subject matter. Now, hopefully I'm still in frame. So again, really cool. Virtually doesn't need anything other than probably I would round the corners, maybe add a sentiment. Another one of those grassy pockets. Cut that tree off if you don't like it, and just have something with a cloud formation. This one is big. It's 7 7/8 by 4 3/4. Now I know there are people that use tags this large. I'm flirting with the idea of going that large. But if I, you know, lost my nerve or it didn't fit or whatever, I could easily cut this off here and end up with another grassy pocket. And then this, of course, could easily be a side tuck, side pocket, and it would be a good one. There's that little cat, and of course he's looking in. I would put this on the left side of the page because, you know, I like my people and my animals, my birds, to be facing into the journal as opposed to out into, you know, the wild blue yonder. If it's too tall, easy enough to chop the top off. And that, my lovelies, are the ones that I have pre-done. So let's pull up, whoops. I was going to say oh, I'm going to lose that clip. We'll worry about that later. If you've seen previous videos, you know I love this cutter. It doesn't quite fit in this available space that I have here, but that's okay. Enough to be stable. This is the Fiskars, and I think they call it the Bypass. It has a self-sharpening blade. It's very stable. It holds a piece of paper that is, you know, it holds a 12 by 12, which is a bonus when you're working with oversized paper. It is listed in my Amazon in every in the description box of every video. And you know, sometimes I think it's worth it to bite the bullet and invest in something good right off the bat or as soon as you can afford it, rather than keep buying the same old cheap crap or replacement blades. I've had this, now probably 4 years, and it's as good as can be. And it does fold in half so that, you know, it doesn't take up a lot of space if you don't have a lot of space. So much for the commercial. Oh, I just will say that I'm still trying to qualify as an Amazon affiliate. And if you can possibly help me do that by using one of my links to get into Amazon, then I would definitely appreciate that. Okay, so these are going to be relatively easy, I would say, because they are so jam-packed with good images. Let's do this one first. You know I have a weakness for trees. So, and hopefully most of this is fitting into the screen. We know that it is 12 inches wide, 10 inches tall. And again, you know that I'm going to leave my options open. So I'm just going to clear that bit of roof there, and again, holding my thing nice and straight, pressing down on this thing. I've got either a belly band, a tip in for a tall skinny, a side tuck, or whatever. Again, because the tree is already going outside of the picture plane, it could be, I could prune the tree, I could pretend I'm an arborist and I could just take a little off the top, or more likely I would take some off at the bottom if it's too tall. Okay, so what have we got left here? Now this building is way too big. I mean, keeping this intact is impossible. So what are we left with here? Roughly 9 inches. So I could go down the middle at 4.5, and that's what I would get. So I'd get the bulk of the building on the one side, I'd get this little shed and part of the bigger building on the other side. And you know what? We're not opposed to doing something that's easy. And it's a good width, and like I said, the possibility, because of its width now at 4.5, it becomes a possible, it's a potential tip in. So we'll clip these 3 together, and that's that. See what I mean about simple? Laughingly simple. Okay, so maybe we should do something a bit different here. We have this barbed wire fence, this rock pile, because you know every farmer puts his rocks at the fence line, and it's out of the way of mowers and cultivators and so on. The calendar page was, you know, thicker obviously than copy paper. The paper I backed it with is, maybe we should do something different here. Maybe this should become a, let's see where the cut would be. If I made this 8.5 tall, which would be like a normal piece of paper, I would have the fence intact. I'd just be losing this grassy foreground. The trees, the sky would all be intact. So I think I'm going to do that because maybe if I score this well, I can turn this into a signature cover. Or for that, oh, well, now that I've cut it, I think, oh, it could have been a journal cover. I mean, it still could be a journal cover, obviously. I would not, at this point, probably put a fold in that because, you know, until you figure out what you're putting inside. Now, see, if I would have thought 15 seconds longer, 5 seconds longer, I would have realized that, oh, 12 by 9 would have made the perfect journal cover. Then an 8.5 by 11 page would fit inside. However, didn't do it. Can't cry over spilt milk. Whoops, let's put this up right side up. That would have given me a little more detail at the bottom here, just a 1/2 inch, you know. So, okay, as always, learn from my mistake. Or it's not even a mistake, it's just a choice. But because this is pretty darn attractive, I think I would still use this as a journal cover, just for the heck of it. Like, I'm not opposed to trimming the papers or folding them in, or, well, up would be the case in this case because my 12 inches is good. The inside is ready to, you know, embellish in some way. So what I would do, rather than making a sharp crease, I wonder if it would break. Let's get rid of this thing first of all. Oh, maybe while I'm here with this cutter, I should cut this down. I could do, I basically never really want a pocket to be more than 5 inches. Because then you're starting to get awfully close to the, what do you call it, the gutter. Now, I could hang on to that, and I probably will. Okay, so let's remove this momentarily. Well, not momentarily. Let's remove it, period. Now, I keep that cutter and my other little favorite. I cannot believe how much cutting, how much I've shortened the life of my wrist cutting things that could have easily fit in a cutter this size. And regarding my first, the big cutter that I showed you, I am using it 100 times more often than when I just had it, you know, taking it open and taking up space on a counter here in the studio, because of course it was like a treadmill or a rowing machine. You put stuff on it, you hang clothes from it. I mean, I wasn't hanging clothes from it, but you know, you stack things up on it, and then you think, well, okay, I do have the cutter, I could probably use it, but oh my goodness, I have to move all that stuff. So then you just do it with a ruler and a knife or a pair of scissors, which is dumb. I'm just wondering. See, typically, to help me remember what my intentions were, I would clip this end closed and let that be as it is, with the intention being, oh, so you wanted that to be a signature cover or a journal cover. So maybe let's just do that. I was going to try folding it, but you know what? That's probably not very wise at this point. Number one, I don't have my scoreboard handy. And number two, sometimes a nice rounded spine is better, because then I can decide at that point, do I want one signature? Do I want two? Do I want three? And I can worry about finding the center for the stitching in process at that point. So again, to keep things intact, I'll just clip all of this together. And by doing this, as long as nothing crushes it, by doing this, I'm also beginning to train the paper to take that shape. So there you have it. Very simple. And of course, you know, naturally you would be using whatever calendars, whatever subject matter you're interested in or you have access to. And then of course you'll use them as you see fit in whatever upcoming projects you might have. So this, oh, I need another paper clip. This all will probably end up in my, like I said, in my ag farming tote. And it's going to look like it will be closer to being ready to use than if I had just kept those calendar pages, who knows where, with my other calendars, and hadn't pre-done the work of backing them. So I'm going to stop there. I encourage you to try this. It is a no-brainer. It is as simple as can be. And you can thank me later. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.